Hi everyone, my name is Tiffany Hansen. Thank you so much for watching my video. The washcloth that I'm going to show you how to make today is one that I actually make for my events to sell. People seem to really love them. They are beautiful, they are functional, and best of all, they're really easy to make. So the materials that you're going to need are cotton yarn. The cotton yarn that I like to make is liThis sugar and cream yarn. If you're a Hobby Lobby fan, I really like to use Crafter's Secret cotton yarn. Second thing you're going to need is a size G or 4mm crochet hook. And lastly, I like to use fabric glue. That's how I end my project. Just adds that nice little professional finishing touch. If you're an experienced crocheter and you don't need to follow along with me, fabulous, I have the pattern down in the notes below. But if you're somebody who would like to follow along with me, let's get started right now. Alright, so all you will need to start is a size G or 4mm crochet hook and your cotton yarn. The beginning to start is the hardest part. You just create your slip knot. So I take my yarn, just twist it like that, and then I stick the yarn inside the loop and pull it tight. And that is it. Let me show you again. I like to start my loop as close as I can to the end of the yarn just to save as much yarn as I can. Make the loop. Put the yarn through the middle of the loop. I'll grab my crochet hook and pull it tight. Pull that to the desired start and I'm ready to go. Yay! Okay, so all crochet really is pulling yarn through loops. So you yarn over, pull it through the loop, and you have your very first chain. 1. I want to go to 21, so I got 1, yarn over, 2, and give me some slack. Most common error that can be done here is making your loops too tight. Make sure you give yourself some slack so you have some room to work with. 20, 21. Remember that 1 extra is our turnover loop so that we can go to row 2. Hopefully you're able to see every little space there. Each space is a loop. So there's a loop, there's a loop. Our first stitch for row 2 is going to be a half double crochet. Half double crochet is where you yarn over. We are going to insert it in the second loop from the hook. So we got 1 and 2. I like to have 2 yarns on top, 1 yarn on the bottom. So if you like gap it a little bit, you can see that. Insert there. Grab some yarn, pull it through that hole. Beautiful. You should have 3 loops on your crochet hook. 1, 2, 3. Yarn over again and pull through all 3 loops. That is a half double crochet. The next stitch is a slip stitch. So in our next hole right there, 2 on the top, 1 on the bottom. Let's insert through. Pull yarn through that hole, and if you just keep going through there, that is a slip stitch. Fabulous. So repeat. Next stitch is a half double crochet, so yarn over, 2 on the top, 1 on the bottom, pull yarn through that hole, 3 loops, yarn over, 1, 2, 3. Next stitch is a slip stitch, so 2 on the top, 1 on the bottom, insert, yarn through, and through. Fabulous. And we just repeat all the way to the very end. Okay, last 2, so half double crochet. And last is a slip stitch. Awesome! We have just completed row 2. Row 1 would have been our foundation row. That was all the chains. This I'm calling row 2. We chain 2 at the very end, make sure that there are 2 stitches following our work, and turn your work. We are going to start with a half double crochet. So yarn over, insert into the hole, pull yarn through that hole. We have 3 loops, and there you go. Next stitch right here. Next stitch, I'm going to insert my crochet hook, pull through, and this is a slip stitch all the way through. Half double crochet, slip stitch. Again, make sure that you do not make your loops too tight. After every stitch, give yourself a little slack. Everybody holds their work different also. If you'll notice, I hold my work here to keep it tight, and I'll hold my work here, keep my work taut, so that way I can see my holes and that I can move more quickly. Ending with a slip stitch. Awesome. And chain 2 and turn. Already starting to see the pattern a little bit. I am going to go for 20 rows and then stop. And the way that you can count your rows is if you can see this diagonal line. That diagonal line counts for 2. So I like to start looking at this side where the diagonal line will hit the bottom. That'll be 2 plus 1. So I would be technically finishing row 3 right now. If you flip the work and you only see one line, but then there's this line on the bottom here, it's still 3 because you still got the 2 that created that line plus 1. So we just finished row 3 and we're about to do row 4. Starting with half double crochet, slip stitch, half double crochet, slip stitch. Okay. Go ahead and keep working until you hit row 20, and I will see you then. All right, so we've managed to crochet 20 rows, and the way you can find that out, how you can count, I like to start with my diagonal lines hitting the bottom. Remember, each diagonal line counts for 2 rows, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Fabulous, we got our 20 rows. I don't want you to cut off your yarn or think you're done quite yet. What we're going to do now is crochet a single crochet border around the entire washcloth to clean it up and make it look nice and pretty. If you want your border to be a different color than your main work, you can cut your yarn off here, tie a knot, and then single crochet your secondary color around as a border. For us, we're going to just continue on with the color, and by continuing on, you save yarn. That way I'm not cutting and losing all that slack and then starting another chain and losing all the beginning of that. So we're just going to continue on. Okay, just finished row 20. I'm going to chain only 1. I'm going to turn my work, and we're going to single crochet in every loop across. But before we do that, I want to show you how to make the little loop, because it's so helpful. It's really useful. So the loop is made in the very beginning before we do the border, and you'll see why. So we already chained 1, but I want to chain a total of 10 for the loop. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I have a 10 loop chain right there. And I'm going to take my work. I'm going to single crochet in that first hole right there. Put my crochet hook in the hole, and I pull everything tight just so I make sure that this loop gets close to the work. I pull out the yarn from the hole, yarn over again, and I pull through both loops. That is a single crochet, and now my loop is attached to the work. Okay, to make sure that we were on count and that our work didn't expand or decrease while we were crocheting, I want to count and make sure there are 20 holes. So there's 1, 2, insert, pull through, insert, pull through, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and the last hole right there is 20. Yay, we got 20 single crochets in there. That is the same number that we started with in the very beginning of our work, was 20. So we did great. Okay, on the corner, I want to continue this border on. To make the edge, I need to single crochet 3 times in that corner. So I already got 1. I'm going to crochet in that same hole again, same space again, so 2 and 3. That forms a really nice corner, really smooth corner, and it sets me up to continue on along the side edge. Okay, the side edge, you need to be careful. This is where you really need to count, because if you are to single crochet in every hole, your work will fan out like this, because you'll be adding way more single crochets than there are rows. There are 20 rows, so we need to make sure that we only have 20 single crochets, starting with this single crochet right there, and that's a part of the 3. So that's 1 done. Then 2, 3. Okay, now on to this section. 4, 5, 6, 7. You'll start to see a pattern of where you insert the hook in between each space, and it'll become something that you don't even have to count anymore. But still, counting is always a really good idea to keep you on track. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and here you might stop and be like, oh no, there's only 19 holes. What am I going to do? Well, we have reached the bottom part of the work, and the bottom part of the work should only have 1 yarn over 1 piece of yarn for the hole, where there's only going to be 1 on the top. So this corner piece, this corner right here, right there, see it? It's going to be thin, but that's our 20th hole. That's our 20th spot. So there's your 20. So we did good. In that corner spot, we need to crochet 3 single crochets because it's a corner. We need to round it off. So 1, 2, 3. Nice and smooth. We're able to turn our work. Okay, let me close up a little bit on this. So each one of these little loops on the top of the work is going to be one hole or one space that we are going to insert our hook into. So that corner counts as 1. Oops. 2. Oh, my yarn just kind of frayed, so I'm going to drop it. I'm going to do that again. There, now it's whole again. So 3 and 20. Yay! Okay, so we have now come to the very beginning of our work where we have the little tail. What I love is this border completely hides the tail. So in the corner, we need to chain the 3 single crochets. So 1, 2, and 3. Turn. Last side. We're almost done, guys. Almost done. Okay, remember, we have only 20 single crochets to make. Watch your counting. The corner counts as 1. I like to lay that tail down on my work, and we're going to crochet over it. So 1, and then 2, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and look, it's gone. It's all covered up. Yay, it looks so good. 19, and right here is our 20. Cool. All 20. It looks great. We've reached that loop. I like to do a whole second round just to make it stronger. I put 15 single crochets in that loop. So put the crochet hook in that hole, that big hole. Yarn over, pull it through. Got 1. Through the hole, pull yarn through. Make it tight, that way it's not like floppy loosey. I like to make sure it's structured. 2, 3, 14, and 15. Fabulous. Doesn't it look so much better? Looks a little thicker, nicer. I slip stitch in that first hole. So if there's first hole, I go in there, pull the yarn through, pull the yarn through that hole, and now I tie off. So I grab my scissors, cut my work. What I will do is I'll yarn over, pull it through that hole, maybe, there it goes, and pull it tight. Okay, that's the tie off, but now I'm going to show you how I weave my end into the work. So I have my tail. The tail's on this side of the work. Okay, I make it so the tail is facing down. Insert my crochet hook into the next space of the work, and I pull that tail through to the back. Pull it tight, so I'm making sure that that loop is going to lay the way I want it to lay. Okay, flip-flop the work over again, go to the next space over, pull that tail through one more time. I'm going to cut off all but this little bit of yarn. I don't need that much slack. Then I'm gonna grab my glue, my fabric glue that I love so much. And it looks like this. This is what I use. Quick Dry Fabric Fusion. This is what you want to look for, people. This is the important part. It says permanent bond to fabric, dries clear and flexible. The flexible part is the huge part. The flexible part makes it truly invisible to your crochet work. Okay? I mean, seriously, you use the smallest little bit. So I have this little tiny tail. Little tiny tail. That was way too much. But I actually love that I made that mistake, because I can show you what you do if you glob too much. So you just wipe it away. You lay that little bit flat. Kind of maybe angle it so it follows the crochet stitch. And that's it. It'll dry invisible. It'll dry flexible. Won't even know it's there. And there you got it, guys. There's the crochet washcloth that my customers love so much. Well, that's all for this video, but you're not gonna wanna miss my next video, which actually builds off of this video. So if you haven't yet done so, make sure you hit the big red subscribe button there at the bottom of the page. That way you don't miss any of my videos. I'm gonna have a new video out every single week going over topics such as how to crochet things, what to make with certain materials, how to sell your crochet, and even how to manipulate a pattern to make it more personalized to you. So until next time, I'm looking forward to seeing you. My name is Tiffany Hansen. Bye.